Hello, and welcome back to another installment of CYNOSURE Magazine's podcast series. Today, I am here with an extraordinary person named Lexxie Mathis, an
Hi.
outstanding bass player, beautiful human inside and out.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
You were the first shoot for issue
Oh,
number 3. You were
that's
like,
so cool.
yeah, you and our dear friend and talented photographer Nina Silver
Oh,
kicked us
yeah,
off.
she is amazing.
That shoot was so exciting because we had been meeting for like months leading up to that, and everyone was
Yeah.
still kind of like, okay, I get the concept, like I can see it, but like you, and then everyone came down and like, poked their head in and was like, oh my God,
Yeah, and just all of
cool.
us were just making it come to life, like
Mm-hmm.
even you coming last minute and helping
Yeah.
me with my makeup and final
Right, right,
touches,
right. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yes, I
and
I
Nina
do
just playing
love.
around with all the cool lighting and
I was so sick.
shadows.
I'm
Yeah,
so excited for to be able to publish those photos. They're
I know.
so beautiful.
Especially the jumpsuit ones. I'm like,
The
I can't do
jumpsuit
anything
one,
with these. I
oh
need to
my
make sure
God.
they're for the mag. It's so
The
hard to keep my.
jumpsuit, like, white stripes, it's so
Yeah, it's so
good.
fun.
Yeah, that was amazing. You guys killed. And you guys grew up together. You guys are friends from Delaware.
Yeah, we met at Tatnall, in our hometown in Delaware in Wilmington. Met when we were in ninth grade.
That's
So like
amazing. And
15
then you
years
both
ago.
ended up in the city.
We talked a little bit in high school, but we didn't really start talking a lot until we were out of high school. So
Oh,
we both
wow. I
didn't
had
know
no
we
idea.
had plans to move to the city, which is really cool.
Oh, that's so that was even more of like the universe getting behind it and being like, nope, these two,
Yeah.
these two have some things to do in this life. Yeah, I
Universe is
mean,
always working its magic.
obviously you two are an outstanding artistic pairing, and the photos are just evidence to that. And that warms my heart. That's awesome. And you both are amazing human beings. So that makes
Mhm.
a lot of
So
sense.
are you.
Oh, thank you.
Mhm.
I know we've
Just
got a good
like-minded individuals
yeah,
attracting.
we've got a good collective forming. I'm really pleased. I really am.
Yeah.
Okay, so you play in like so many different bands.
Yeah, so
Can you
I've been,
name
like,
them all?
filling in for people, like, as needed for
Okay.
bass playing, but right now I've actually just dialed in, so I am actually gonna be playing at a festival that my roommate and I just, like, kind of made up really last minute because we were supposed to be playing a festival, but the agent double booked, so we're like, "Okay, we still have this date, like, locked
Mhm.
in and free, so let's do something." So I'm gonna be doing a little solo show on our rooftop, and then I'll also be joining in with the band I'm in, the Vibe Souls, which is like a
Vibe
jazz
Souls, yeah.
funk fusion.
Mhm.
So 2 different things right now, which is
Wait,
fun.
okay, you're starting your own festival. That is
Yeah!
amazing. And that's
We're
like you
thinking of calling it, Summer of Love, so if you wanna join the lineup or,
if
like,
I wanna
perform
join the
with us.
lineup, oh my God, of
Yeah!
course. Of
It's
course
gonna
I
be a lot
do.
of fun.
That's fantastic. Oh my God.
Yeah.
I'll wear this jacket. It's perfect.
Yes,
I'm
yeah,
ready to
that's so
go. Summer
groovy, that's
love,
so perfect.
baby. Wait, you just
Oh, it's
answered like
perfect.
4 questions. Like we have I don't think you know this, but we have a question that we ask everybody and it's like saved for the end. But now everyone's going to get it earlier on in this interview. We want to start putting on a festival too. So we have
Mm.
right? So we have this question we've been asking everybody. So you're headlining like the post-dated inaugural Cynosure Music Festival. Who are you adding to the bill and where in the world are you having it?
Oh my gosh, wait, ask this again, I need to think about
Okay,
it.
okay, okay. Ready? You are headlining the
Mhm.
post-dated inaugural Cynosure Music Festival. Where in the world is it? Because it's up to you.
Mhm.
And who are you adding to the bill? Because we treat our talent right. We give them creative input.
And this can be, like, anyone.
And we had somebody say underwater the first time we asked, and I
I love
that
that.
was an amazing that was the interview that
Ah,
dropped today, actually.
see, that would be a vibe, or even, like, playing on a cloud, like, because 'cause I'm all about dreams and
Mhm.
daydreaming and being stuck in a daydream, and that's how I like my music to make you feel just like, "Wow, I've been put in a trance." So that idea would be super cool, but I've honestly been wanting to go to Tokyo for a while and just check out the music scene there, and
We had another Tokyo or a Japan answer.
Mm.
Yes. This whole issue, everybody is so connected. Like on a like a metaphysical level, everybody's on the same wavelength. That's awesome.
That's so beautiful. Wow. And then if I could have anyone else on the bill, it'd be
Dead or
Geotic.
alive. Who?
Geotic.
I don't know them.
Yeah, so he's based in LA and he's been making music since he was in high school, I believe. and it's very ambient and reflective. But then he also goes under another name as Baths, and it's a bit like harder electronic, like more
Okay.
drum bass. Like I'll send you.
Yeah.
I think you'll really dig
Yeah,
it.
please. I'd love that.
Mhm.
That is so cool. So, and you know, what's interesting is along the line of you having such similar answers to some of the other people that are in the issue, who are all musicians. There's this running theme that was so unintentional, but is so cool to see how it's kind of showed up anyway,
Mhm.
about people making music with family,
Oh yeah,
which
the
is
family connection. Yeah.
it's like it's every single person. It just it's part of the interview, part of the story, part of the journey. And you and your brother Ty Mathis,
Yeah.
you guys play together. You're
Mhm.
on one of his albums called Double Your Fun, which
Yeah.
has a beautiful, beautiful album art. All of Ty's album art is so stunning.
I actually
Visuals.
did the album art for
You
W Fun. Yeah.
Lexi.
So thank you so much. I was just playing around on Canva and just
Ugh,
he
love
told me that he
Canva.
wanted it very vibrant. So just playing around with drawing cherries and getting like little gooey animated text fonts and stuff.
Hmm. God,
Yeah, that album is so great.
sponsor us, Canva. We love
Yeah,
you.
please.
Honestly, this issue couldn't have happened without Canva, so thank you, Canva. This is
Seriously.
not a paid ad, but it could be. Back to Double Your Fun. That is, had no idea that's even more incredible.
Thank
Um,
you.
okay, I have a few more questions popping up now
Mhm,
that we're really finding out some really interesting things. I'm gonna stick with this train of thought because if I
mhm.
don't, we'll never land.
Yeah, we could
But I'll
keep
circle
talking
back.
for a
I'll circle
while.
back. So there's this fusion of genres that Ty is currently working with, and it's been described as evolution music, which seems like it's a pretty new genre title, is what I'm getting from what I've
Yeah,
seen
that's
about
actually
it.
the first I'm hearing of that. But I
It's
feel
on
like
his
there's so many
Spotify.
like subgenres like being
Yeah.
created every day, like just trying to find what fits your music.
So do you also create that way, or is that something that you can like tap into with him and then you do? I know you make more ambient music.
Yeah, so I really like the way Ty's processes for songwriting and then just like even the way he's been taught, which is self-taught.
Mhm.
So he didn't actually have lessons until maybe 6 years of him playing guitar. So at that point, he'd already grown
Wow.
an ear and feel for his own. And then as opposed to me, like, I don't know, I just really wanted to develop good habits at the start. So I
Mhm.
did get an instructor and that helped a lot, but I also feel like sometimes that can interfere with your creative process because it's sometimes you set
100%.
boundaries on yourself, you know? So
Mhm.
I'm actually reading this book, Endless Mastery by Kenny Warner, and just like retraining my mind. So today, actually, when I picked up the bass, like after even just playing one note, no matter what it was, if it was a few notes, one note, I'm like, wow, that's such a beautiful line just to retrain it instead of like, oh, I want to
Yeah.
sound good all the time, you know?
The
But
ever widening pit of despair. 100%.
yeah.
Well, you know what's interesting? I'm seeing Bowie in your background. Bowie
Yeah, I
was
actually got this
self-taught.
at the Bowie exhibition when it was in the
Oh my
Bronx, I
God.
believe.
Oh, amazing.
It was so
Amazing. So
beautiful.
he was self-taught, Frank Zappa was self-taught, Jimi Hendrix, Kurt Cobain. I mean,
Yeah.
everybody that did something outrageous and fantastic was self-taught and was more
Mhm.
of an outsider artist. So and I
Yes.
found this out recently. I had no idea.
And
I
that's
think
just really inspiring too, because I
mhm,
feel like sometimes we get so hard on ourselves, like always trying to learn the next thing. And while that's cool, you can also learn so much on your own, like just trusting
yeah.
your ears.
And I think it's also there's so much like because I especially with guitar, I've had a few lessons, but I'm also self-taught. And for a
Mhm.
while that stopped me from really even like considering myself a proper guitarist because it was so over like it's just such a vast landscape of knowledge to learn and it's so like you get to a point and you're like, all right, cool, I can do this. And then the like road stretches out and like five more roads show up and you're
Yes,
like,
exactly, because you're like,
what?
"Okay, I mastered this, and now I'm gonna try to do something else that I
Mhm.
haven't really gotten to yet," and then when you first get to that thing, it
Mhm.
just feels so hard, but then you get a week into it, and you're like, "Okay, I'm ready for the next thing again."
Right.
It's an endless cycle.
I feel like on a more metaphysical level, I feel like there's like that energy that kind of coddles you creatively in a way where like you go in blindly thinking that like like it's not as intimidating as it really is, and it
Mhm.
lets you get to a certain point, so you build up enough confidence and enough of an addiction to be like, well, I can't walk away from this now, and
Yes,
then it reveals itself to you and you're like, oh shit, oh shit,
exactly.
oh shit, oh shit.
Oh my gosh, so that actually
Mhm.
happened today with me. I was transcribing a song, and I'm not sure if you know Weather Report, but the bassist Jaco Pastorius, he is one of the best. You'll really like him. He's just so melodic, self-taught as well.
Ooh.
And I actually found a song that's a bit slower of his. So I'm like,
Mhm.
okay, I can totally grasp this. I'll be able to like transcribe it a lot quicker because it's not like crazy lines, not going super quick.
Mhm.
And then I put the headphones on and EQ the bass so I can hear it more. And I'm just like, oh man, what did I get myself into? This is so hard. But once I'm in so deep, it's like a puzzle, and I'm just trying to
Mhm.
like figure out the missing pieces.
Yeah, I always find that walking away too is like the missing key. And
Yes.
I never used to do that in my photo practice. And
Mhm.
then learning guitar because of how frustrating it was and continues to be at times, like it truly I'll leave it and then I'll walk away, sometimes even for 30 seconds, and then I come back and like my hands knew it. Like it got it. And
Yes.
then I'll do that when because editing with photography is like I will sit there and I will edit a photo and I will hate it. I will go in
Mhm.
so excited and love it and be like, this is the best thing I've ever taken. And then 10 minutes into the editing process, I'm like, I never want to see this ever again. Like
Mhm.
I'm so over this. But it's really interesting how those multiple mediums can really unlock certain things. And like certain lessons are exclusive to one medium, but then once you get it, then you can
Mhm.
transfer it over to another.
Yes. Yeah.
Which I'm sure now that
Definitely.
I know how talented of a visual artist you are, in addition to being a musician,
Oh.
um, that's something that I'm sure you've encountered too.
Yeah, definitely. Like not even just with like music, well, I guess still music,
Mhm.
but I feel like I do like art more on the side, like just for fun,
Mhm.
but I
Oh,
don't
how
really play
interesting.
guitar or piano or
Yeah.
keys that much. But knowing what I know on bass, I'm
Mhm.
able to put it on MIDI.
Mhm.
So if I'm like, I don't want this song to be too like heavy with bass, I'll do a bass solo that I really like. I'll tab it out and then I'll just put it on MIDI, which
Mhm.
is really cool. So it's just like even if you know one instrument, you can really just
Yeah.
transfer it to all, which is so beautiful.
That's really cool because they say that keys are the basis for all theory.
Mhm.
So if you don't go in, because I grew up playing piano, so I feel I don't have the other
Lucky.
perspective of going in from a different instrument because I was so comfortable on piano, but I it's still nice to sit down and connect with it, but it's also like I would rather be playing the guitar if I'm honest. Like that's where I really, but
I
it's
know
nice
what
to
you
have that
mean.
foundation. But that's so
Mhm.
interesting. Like, yeah, it's I do that. So music for me was what
Mhm.
visual art is for you. And it was
Mm.
never supposed to do anything with it publicly ever. The idea of that made me like want to shrink into the smallest violet that ever was. But
Mhm.
um I'm glad that you put your artwork on Ty's album
Aw, thank
because
you.
it
Yeah,
it
I
like
am too.
it made me I responded to it right away. And I was like, "Whoa, that is so that's it was different, it was fresh, it was exciting." I
That's so cool, and I'm really glad that you listened to it too. I'm gonna tell him
Yeah,
after, that makes me really
I'd love
happy.
to meet him. Yeah, I'm sure is he
Yeah.
gonna be playing your festival?
I actually haven't told him about it 'cause, like, we just started
Should we
talking
call him
about
right
it last
now?
evening.
Should we call him right
Right.
now? Get him on the
Oh,
interview to
oh,
sign
yeah.
on?
I hope
That's
he's free that day 'cause
that's
that'll be
so
a lot of
funny.
fun.
Yeah, that's amazing. And then, I mean, so Beatles across the universe, with the Rooftop NYC show. I
Yes,
love it. I love
yeah!
it. That's
Don't Let Me
amazing.
Down vibes.
Oh, so that scene still to this day makes me like I remember
Mhm.
I'd moved back from New
Chills.
York when I saw that movie for the first time. And I was watching that movie. I was like, shit, I'm gonna end up back there one day, aren't I? Like there's
Mhm.
just no yeah, it's like that and Patti Smith, Just Kids. It's like I can't stay in Los Angeles anymore. There's no way.
I know what you mean, like, I love New York so much, but I went to Liverpool and London before and did, like,
Oh my
all the
don't even
Beatles
get me
touristy things,
started.
and you can just feel the magic in the air there. Ah,
Ugh, London is another thing. I almost moved to London.
recently, like, earlier this
Yeah.
year.
Yeah. It was a whole situation. It was very much like I came here to go there.
Mhm.
Secretly. And then I fell in love with New York. It snuck up on me and
It's so hard to leave.
I had this offer and it came in like 2 weeks late. I signed a 2-year lease. Anyway, it's later. It's definitely later, but New York is home New York is home. It's cemented that New York is home. So
Yeah, definitely.
anyways, back to you. So you also play with the Vibe Souls.
Hmm.
So I don't know much about the Vibe Souls. Can you tell me a little bit about them? They're slightly
Yes.
different than Ty, aren't they?
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely. Like more instrumental and
Mm-hmm.
like more jazzy vibes, I guess, because I definitely say Ty's more on the rock and roll end. I
Yeah, definitely.
but so I actually joined the Vibe Souls about in September will make 2 years. But it's Gabe's band. He's my roommate. He's the guitarist of
Mm,
the band. And I joined actually when I first moved to New York. So they were my first band, actually, my first band for me playing bass, and just some of my first friends that I met in New York. And once we hit it off, we actually jammed on a rooftop. So New York of us, and we instantly hit it off. And at that time it was a saxophonist, Ava, in the
mhm.
group, and she became my best friend. She's back in another country now because she had to leave for school. But yeah, we had a lot of fun. Like we instantly hit it off, and it's been 2 years now. It's a trio because she had to go. But we played at like the Mercury Lounge,
Amazing.
Bowery Electric, the
Mm-hmm.
Delancey, piano, just anywhere that we can try to, get our hands on. And then we're hoping for a little mini tour, like going to Philly or
Oh,
DC,
nice.
like playing so far sound shows. And then we also plan to do some recording in the summer too.
Oh, that's so cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know what? There's this really cool through line of like local New York bands with saxophone players. Like
Yeah.
it's
Love horn players.
every show, and like somebody comes out and just kills it.
Hmm.
And that's so different from the scene that I'm used to in Los Angeles, and I think it's so cool.
Yeah, what
It's
kind of scene is in Los Angeles? Because I really haven't spent much time
um
there. How's the music?
I prefer New York.
Gotcha.
Let me say something a little bit more flattering though. To be fair though, like I grew up listening to a lot of New York based artists in like, a couple, you know, scenes ago, and so I'm more primed to be in with like a scene that I feel I would listen to anyway. Um
Yeah.
I think the LA scene is very metal and glam influenced.
Mm,
And
okay.
to be honest, this may or may not make it into the interview, but I find that people are more interested in a costume rather than the actual
Mm,
music out there. Like I found the look is on par, and then the music is something completely different. So
I know
it's weird. It's
exactly what
weird
you
to me.
mean. And
Yeah.
not even just LA, well, I can't really experience because I haven't really spent
Mhm.
much time there, but I feel like even online too. Like it's
Mhm.
really good that there's so many creatives, but I also see sometimes people just, I don't know, like getting listens or streams, and not even necessarily for the wrong reasons, but it's because of how they're dressed up and not really because of what they're
Mhm.
playing. Like
Right.
sometimes you can't even hear what they're playing.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, and like not to knock anybody's practice or
Mm.
anybody's inclination towards making music, because everybody deserves to go through that process and to go through
Yes, yeah,
their own trials and tribulations with it. The stuff that feeds my soul more so is like the stuff I'm finding in New York, and I'm finding
yeah.
in like community and friends who are in like incredible bands playing incredible shows, and like I'm going to one like every weekend, and it's blowing my
Yes.
mind all over again. And it's
Mhm.
it's like these are people that I know, these are people that I like drink with, that I hang out with, that it's really refreshing and really cool. And you are definitely one of those people. So yeah,
Yeah.
it's cool. The scene is cool out here for
It
sure.
is. Like since I moved to New York, like even what you're saying, going to
Mhm.
a show every weekend, it's definitely been a good show for me, like once every
Mhm.
2 weeks. And it's someone that I've either like grew up listening to or just recently
Right?
discovered or even
There's a
became
lot of
a
that.
fan.
There's a
And
lot of
there's
that.
so much talent. It's
There's
amazing.
there have been a few times where somebody's introduced themselves to me and I've been like, I know exactly who you are. Yeah, like I know you. I know your number. I listened to you yesterday.
Wow.
Cool. Yeah, I thank God for good music, man. Like,
Yes, it's what
yeah,
connects us all.
totally. So your stuff, you only have one song called All the Time out on Spotify right now.
Mhm.
Um, but we're not gonna call you a one-hit wonder because I know there's more amazing things coming.
Yes.
Although that song is a hit. And
Oh, thank you.
it's more it's a hit by CYNOSURE standards because it's more
Oh,
serene and cerebral, and it's very and like it has an energy or a frequency that like comforts you. It like fills a space, and like it's something you'd want on, while you're at home by yourself just as much as you would with people. Do you know what I mean? Like
yes, yeah,
it's
that's
very
exactly
mhm
what I try to create because that's a lot of the stuff that I like to listen to. Like
mhm
either when I'm feeling anxious or I just need some kind of sound while I'm doing something in my house or like in the shower. Like I just love
mhm
super reflective, like meditative music to just put me in a good headspace.
totally, totally. So has it always been ambient with you? Has it always been like that's the kind of music you've wanted to create? Have you gone through your own trials and tribulations with different genres to get there?
Yeah, so I've definitely gone through a few different musical phases. I remember my first song that I wrote was more like electronic funk, I guess you'd say.
Okay, yeah.
But recently, when I've been sitting down on my laptop and my bass, it's just a bunch of like slower melodies that have been coming to
Mhm.
me like longer since. And I guess that also just reflects what I'm listening to at the moment is a lot of ambient music, you know.
Mhm.
And you really create what you like to hear and what you listen to.
Totally.
But I definitely have been like I have a lot of stuff that I've been working on. I have almost 2 albums right now, and I plan on releasing like ambient stuff first, but I also
Okay.
have like I'm not sure if I'm gonna be doing remixes of the ambient songs I'll be releasing
Ooh.
or just kind of making them totally different. But I also have some songs that are like more skitsy drums and
Yeah.
just a little bit heavier with kick drums and stuff like that. So,
Mhm.
but it definitely has been more electronic based, I'll say that.
Dualities, dichotomies, juxtaposition, if you
Yes,
will.
and playing with the vibe souls also keeps it really refreshing too
Mhm.
because it's more jazzy and funky too. So it's just a good balance.
That's the other thing about the scene out here is there is a lot of cross-pollination with people in
Yes.
playing in
Mm,
everybody else's bands, and I love it. I love to see that.
yes,
You
I
talk
love
to you
it.
talk to somebody after show and they're in like your friend Brad's band and your other friend
Yeah.
Brad's band and like Chad's band and
Mhm, and
like
it's
they're in
crazy because New York is so big, but
Mhm.
everyone is connected
Yeah.
somehow.
Yeah, so that's I love that, and it seems like it makes it that, like, there is definitely a a signature, like a sound, but it's also, like, it's not stagnant, it's not the same, it's different, it has
Yeah.
the opposite effect of what, like, you would feel like it would get monotonous,
Mhm.
just sort of, like, changing a few of the players around and, like, having it all kind of come from, like, a same local source, but it doesn't, it's
It
refreshing
doesn't
and
at all, and that's really the beauty of it is that everyone plays differently.
Mhm,
Like, even if you guys do the same exact, like, bass line or just
mhm.
same exact, melody, it won't sound the same because everyone has their own touch and feel.
Yeah. I know, I almost wanna, like I wanna because I need a B-side for the cassette, so I'm like, do I record I had this idea of, like because I have a bass player, a bassist and a drummer who are in a really talented, band called Progamik, based out of Brooklyn, Greg and Zolo, who did the bass and drums on my song.
I can't wait to hear it.
Oh, yeah, I know, I have to send it I'll send it to you. I still it's not finished. It will be by the time the issue's out, but, and I was
Nice.
like, "I wonder if I just got, like, a bunch of different people to play on it in different iterations and, like, see how differently it could sound," as more of, like,
Oh,
an experimental, like, "This isn't finished, I'm not ready to, like, fully start playing shows yet, but,
yeah.
like, come on into the process with me," and, like, figuring out my sound in relation to other people's sounds
Yes.
and, like, a
That would be
collaboration
so
on that
sick.
level. We'll
And I feel
see.
like you could even learn so much too about your
Right?
playing with how you're harmonizing with another
Yeah.
person too.
Mhm.
Oh, that would be
I mean,
really
if you're
cool.
interested,
I am definitely interested. I would
let's
love
talk,
that.
let's talk. That would be really
Yeah.
cool, yeah. That would be
That's
sick.
awesome.
So back to you. You said you have a couple new albums coming out. When can we expect that?
So I'm planning on releasing 3 songs as a
Okay.
little EP, and they all really blend really well together because I actually made them all during the same time.
Oh,
So I'm like,
cool.
these it's definitely like a little concept EP. So I plan on releasing them very soon. Like my friend just finished some visual like moving art for it, and it's really peaceful. I want to send that to you too because it's really pretty.
Oh,
But
sick.
I'm thinking either really early August or late August. September at the latest, but definitely want to get this out for the summer.
Oh, so cool.
Yeah.
Would you be down to maybe perform one of those at our launch party?
Yes, yeah.
Maybe that's the first Cyno festival. Is the launch
Yeah.
party.
That would make sense.
Might be hard
Especially
with
if
like backlines and whatnot, but you
yeah.
figure it out.
Oh, that would be so awesome.
Right? Okay, well, I'm going to be hitting you up sometime
Mhm.
this week and
I'm
we'll talk.
definitely interested in that.
Okay, cool. Okay, so let me just I had a lot of questions we like went through. I just have to like reorient myself. Oh, here's a good one. You've named your bass, haven't you? You've named her. What is her name?
Yeah. I have. So I have two that I'm playing at the moment. And on my wall, that's actually the first bass I got. It's a Fender Squire. And
Mm-hmm.
it's such a good first, like, trusty bass. It's really
Mm-hmm.
nice. And I really love slapping on it. I have some really sweet rounds. Her name is Margot.
Margot. Hi,
Margot.
Margot.
Because I've always loved that name so much. And I'm like, she deserves a beautiful name because she's so
Yeah.
beautiful.
Yeah.
And then right here, this is Lucille.
Lucille. I remember
Yeah.
Lucille. It's good to see
Sweet
you
Lucy.
again.
And she's my favorite bass. Like I haven't found a better bass that I've like played or connected with since this one.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I already showed you during the
Yeah, I was
photo
looking back
shoot.
because I didn't notice it at first, or I might have noticed it during the shoot, but there was so much going on that like I didn't want to intrude on the moment you and Nina had, so I was kind of like coming in for eyeliner touch-ups and then like backing out, just letting you guys have the space. And then my photo editor Bruno and I were looking through the photos, just like Lucille. Oh, that's
What
so
kind of bass is
cool.
that? And I also like having the name on this one, especially because
Mm-hmm.
it did have Sire written on it. It's a Marcus Miller Sire.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know, it's a bit mysterious with that. It's
Do
like,
you know
what
what?
kind of bass is that?
I love that too, specifically because it's such a feminine sounding name. Because my greatest, or not, I wouldn't say my greatest. I'm not going to give him that much power, but you know, a thorn in my side in both of my mediums is the gearheads. You know them.
Yeah.
You know the gearheads, and
My
they're
boyfriend included. Oh my gosh.
yeah. There's a spectrum for sure. There's like the problematic misogynist, ruin the fun for everybody gearheads, and then there are the people that like we get it.
Yeah.
We get it.
The
You know,
first kind are annoying.
but I love that you're like bucking that and kind of creating your own, it's not what should be there, but it's what you want to be there. And I love that.
Exactly. And these are our instruments to make our
Yeah.
own, like you can change the knobs on them, change the strings, you can paint it, you can do
Hmm.
whatever you want like it's
Yeah.
yours. It's how you express yourself.
100%. 100%. Yeah. There's like that's the thing, because it's such a performance. There's a performance involved with the medium, which is so different, but similar in some ways to photo. That you just have to be like this thing to be publicly perceived and digested. It's so interwoven with the creation of music, even though there's two different sides to it. And I feel like that can get paralyzing at times, especially if you're new,
Yeah.
or if you need to you need to get a little bit more comfortable on stage. Like it's a
Mhm.
little, and but
I
that's
know
I
what you
like that a
mean.
lot. Yeah.
At first, it was definitely so. I remember the first time I actually performed, it was with my brother. And I was so excited, but at the same time, I was just super nervous. I'm like, this is my first time. All these
Mm-hmm.
guys, they've been playing all of their lives, and I've only been playing 1 year. So I remember just being so full of like just nerves. I actually had to sit down just because I don't know,
Mm-hmm.
just that's what I had been comfortable doing at the time, just sitting down
Yeah.
practicing.
I
But
mean,
then as time grew on, you just get more comfortable doing it and interacting with the crowd too.
Jim Morrison turned around his back to the crowd like for a significant portion of the Doors' early days. Like, I get it. And then
Wow.
also like the last time I performed, there was like a rush of emotion I wasn't anticipating. Like I was rehearsing almost down to like just out of pure anxiety, just like how I was going to like move my presence, my because it
That
needed.
is really good to
Yeah.
picture beforehand, like know the size of the venue, envision
Yeah.
yourself doing it. So it's like you've already done it
Yeah,
already.
so that when you're like freaking out, that autopilot can take over. So it
Yes,
doesn't come off as like, or you hope it doesn't come off as like pre-rehearsed in like a really inauthentic way. It's more just like a no, I have my back in case I start wigging out, because this is really
exactly.
vulnerable and scary, and
It
I'm like,
is.
it doesn't come as naturally to me as it does to somebody else, and like I'm trying to work through it as I'm trying to remember when I'm playing, and
Exactly.
and I had
Mhm.
like a really vulnerable moment I wasn't anticipating on stage, and It wasn't really a stage, it was a situation. It was like a it was in a classroom, but it's same thing. Like it
Mhm.
yeah, and it almost like I remember in the moment feeling like somebody had once told me that like if that happens, like you have to give into it. Like if you fight it, it's gonna get bad. And you
Mhm.
just it's like messing up a chord or missing a note or playing a wrong note, like you have to keep
Yeah.
going. It's the
Mhm.
same thing, but emotionally, and like I gave into it, and I remember it being really mortifying and really embarrassing, but then watching the footage back, it wasn't as bad as I had like remembered it being.
Yeah.
But I think yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Like that, like just taking whatever you need to do to make sure you're safe in your
Mhm.
own performance space, like forgetting about the demands of everybody's eyes and everybody's
Yes.
brains receiving you, like that's just as important.
That is
Yeah.
so true, like, even with just giving into it, because
Mhm.
I remember even just maybe about a year ago, like, 'cause I still get nervous, but this was
Mhm.
even, like, when I was just really, really on edge before playing, and I remember being on stage and hitting a wrong note, and it's just like, my mentality now is just like, there are no wrong notes, you know? Like,
Mm. That's right. You were
you
saying that
can maybe
earlier.
hit a note that you weren't intending on hitting, but you
Yeah.
can make it sound good really easily, you know, because 'Cause we're
Mhm.
capable of that, we're great.
Yeah.
But just I remember being so caught up in the moment, just so focused on that one mistake, then it felt like it kept leading to more and more and more, like, mess ups. But
Mhm.
then, when that happened again down the road, I'm just like I laugh it off because
Yeah.
it's funny, because we can get so
Mhm.
worked up over little things that most people don't even hear.
Right. Yeah, yeah,
Oh.
yeah. Yeah, and then also sometimes it's not even you, sometimes it's the sound, and it's the sound guy or
Oh,
like something.
mhm. Yeah,
Yeah,
they're not always
so
the best in paying attention.
yeah, like I've seen some interesting things go down. But like the way that what people handle those situations, it's all about the resiliency and the not like the fact that they could just go right back into it and like not walk off stage in those moments is super impressive. So we asked you one of our signature questions, and we
Mhm.
have another one to ask. So we believe advancements in tech and the digital frontier that we're finding ourselves on right now is super isolating. It's super scary. There's a lot of morality being, put into question and threatened, and boundaries in that way crossed. And it's kind of negative. It's a negative experience. There's a lot of positives that tech has. I think it's being overshadowed by a lot of the doomsday AI. We are trying to rebalance that spectrum of like physicality, and especially in media, and the physical experience of life, but also being an artist, and advancements that are really exciting and really cool and deserve their space and time, and their flowers too. I feel like if we were able to make that more harmonious and a gray area rather than like two extremes, we would all be feeling a lot more physically tied to our experience and validated, but also I think a little bit more comfortable with the progression of tech as it is right now.
Definitely.
So with that in mind, we want to know physicality in music media, like cassettes, CDs, vinyl. Are you for it? Are you against it?
See,
there's not a right answer. So
I
whatever you feel.
personally like my boyfriend and we're best friends, and every
Hmm.
weekend, like for the past month, we've actually been visiting different record stores around in Brooklyn. I have a little record, bless you, I have a little record
Thank you.
collection
I went on
going.
mute for that.
And see, I love the physical copy of
Hmm.
things. Like, my stepbrother was actually able to find me the White Album, one of the first pressings, and with all the original Beatles heads in it, and that's
Wow.
something that I'll cherish forever. So I love the physical copy of
Hmm.
things. Like I never want to get rid of that, you know?
Hmm.
And just I don't like even hearing music played like from the 60s and 70s or just any time, like especially on vinyl, it's just this sweet, warm sound, and it just feels how it's intended to be heard.
Hmm.
And I
Yeah.
definitely wouldn't like I understand like Spotify and Apple Music when you're on the go, because obviously it's not practical to be carrying records around, and you can't have a cassette player.
It's practical to carry a cassette player around.
But yes, exactly. I
Yeah.
need to get one because I have actually maybe like 5 cassettes. I don't have a cassette player though.
Oh, I gotta get you one. I gotta get you one.
Ah,
How are you gonna listen to the single when it comes out?
Oh my gosh. I definitely want a cassette of that.
Yeah. Oh, everyone. So I'm taping them into the at least the New York issues. Yeah. So we have I'm gonna have like an assembly line party if you want to come,
Yes.
and
Oh,
just have
I'm
all
so
the J
excited.
cards and like the empty cassettes and the holders and just go at it one night.
Yes. Yeah, that'll be so cool.
Yeah. Yeah, there is something really special about like the heirloom of a physical piece of music.
Yes.
Yeah, like my friend bought me one of my New Year's resolutions was to start listening to albums like track by track again, because it's my ADHD is so nebulous, and like I can't sit down very long with one thing.
Mhm.
Spotify makes that really hard to like stay focused in my listening habits. I love Spotify at the same time because I'm finding like so much more, and we're publishing our podcast on Spotify, and the
Yes.
accessibility is great. But in terms of like listening and digesting, I prefer physical media. And hearing my resolution, he bought me his favorite Aerosmith album, Permanent Vacation, on like vintage cassette and gave it to
Wow.
me. And that was before I had really gotten into cassettes. I didn't even have a cassette player. I had no way of playing it, but I was so intrigued. I was like thinking about whose basement was this in? Like whose musty
Yeah.
basement was this sitting
It's
in?
definitely come a long way.
Like this person took their allowance money in the 80s and bought this album,
Mhm.
and then it ended up in a box somewhere, and somebody donated it, and then somebody else got their hands on it, and then Roz got his hands on it and gave it to me as a present, I think it was a Christmas present. And it just like launched me into this love of cassettes, and now I'm putting out my own cassette, and I have so many.
That's so
It's-
amazing.
yeah,
I love that.
we have the free version of Zoom, so meetings can only be like half an hour, and we went over it. I
Wow.
didn't
I
even
didn't know
realize.
that was a thing. I thought it was like a timer that you set on your end.
No, 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 no. Yeah, so it shuts it off, and they're like, "You need to pay," and I'm like,
Wow. How dare they?
"Yeah, honestly." I was thinking about it actually in the shower this morning, and I was like, um, "What if like because everybody does these Zoom interviews, and I'm like, what if Zoom actually did like a podcast platform,
That would be perfect.
and we could help them develop it, like because people are doing this anyway, and might as well expand,
Yeah, exactly.
right?"
So many people I know are using Zoom,
For all their creative
working from
projects.
home. Yeah.
Honestly, CYNOSURE couldn't have happened without Zoom. Like we couldn't have, our budget was not big enough to be able to do interviews in this way for every single person that we're featuring the way that we would like to. And thank God for Zoom.
Yeah,
So
technology, man.
I know, right? That goes right back to what we're talking about, how,
Yeah.
it is a little isolating. We're not in person.
Mhm.
But we're still doing the damn thing.
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, other than that, that was kind of my last question anyway. Thank you so much for such a heartfelt and warm conversation as always.
Yeah, thank you
Um,
for having me. You're amazing.
yeah, I'm so excited to get to introduce your music to our listeners and our readers. It's exciting all the way around, and everybody in the issue is a fantastic human being and artist, and I'm curious to see more of your visual work. Is there anywhere that we can go? Oh, and also give us some info on where we can find you on Spotify, Apple Music.
Yes. Yeah, so I'm on Spotify, Apple Music,
Mhm,
and YouTube under Lexxie Mathis. Lexxie with two X's, so
mhm.
Lexxie, Mathis, Mathis. And then an EP will be out very shortly.
Yes, it will.
I haven't done so many recently just because
Mhm,
the stuff I want to create is a bit harder than I know, like especially with the moving stuff,
mhm.
putting your own
Ooh,
twist on it.
moving
Yeah,
stuff.
but
That's
yeah. I just like playing around on the train sometimes, like
Oh, that's
making
cool.
flyers, like even for the Vibe Souls or my brother. So if you go down his page and you see something that looks very colorful, a flyer, it's probably me.
So, okay, this is the other thing. Did you hear about this? They're having a 50 years of hip hop flyers exhibition on Orchard Street
What?
right now, and they're auctioning off like it's like actual pieces of memorabilia from the start of hip hop till now, and it's a beautiful presentation. We stumbled across it on the way to that shop, The Cast, or the
Okay.
leather shop
Yeah.
on the Lower East Side, and we walked in and we started talking to the woman that was working there, and they're doing an auction of it. of the items there on the 29th. So I think we're gonna go and just cover it because it's beautiful. And like the
I
book,
want to go.
you should come with us. Yeah,
What
the
time?
book.
Yeah, send me the information
I'll
because
send you
that
the
sounds
info.
amazing.
I have the flyer right here,
Oh,
actually.
perfect. I got my pen and paper.
Yeah. Okay. Well, this is the book. I don't know if you can see it.
Oh, the screen. Okay.
Hoping.
Oh,
Yeah, I think I'm really hoping my background doesn't expose the fact that I have clean laundry unfolded on my couch right behind me.
I couldn't see the
So
laundry.
I'm gonna do this very
50 years
carefully.
of hip hop.
50 years of hip hop flyers. Yeah. And they have some cassettes there too. It's so cool. Like I'm super big into flyers. All of my friends make flyers for like nightlife events. I've made a few for some of mine. I found these other books. Where were they? Was it Printed Matter? New York rave flyers in New York and Paris from the 90s, which is
Ooh.
And we're using them using them as some inspiration for some of our graphics for the issue. But anything that looks like this, like sign me up.
I can't
Like
wait
this
to see
is
the final product. Like I know this is gonna be so good.
We have such a good graphics team, Lexxie. Our entire team is I'm so blown away by all of them, and I'm so grateful to all of them. And like, God, I tricked everybody into like believing in Cyno, and it's so beautiful, and I'm just so overrun with like gratitude and joy. And I had one of the biggest gratitude sobs on the way home from the bar the other night. Like just like a crazy person walking through the Lower East Side, just sobbing like tears of pure joy. And got home and was like brushing my teeth like after it had a few. And I've never come home before drinking and been like crying good tears. Like there's definitely been like nights where the opposite has been true, but it was such a like surreal moment, and I was like brushing my teeth. I was like, it's all happening. Oh my God.
And I feel like being in the city with the bright lights, especially at nighttime, it just sinks in a bit more. Like you're like, okay, wow, I'm really doing this. This is real. This is in full motion.
Right. Like I think I was like listening to a friend's band even like popped up on my playlist, and it just like something clicked. And I mean, there's so much to be grateful for regardless. But it was like a culmination of so many, and it was like a friend's birthday that night too. And there was so many I'd like moved. I was with a different friend, and then I ran over to go to a friend's birthday, and then, was at another friend's bar before that. It was just so much love. It was so great. It was so great. Yeah, it's a beautiful issue. I'm so excited. We're actually launching a crowdfunding campaign this week. So I'll send you the info. If you could send that out for us, we would really appreciate it.
Oh, definitely. Yeah. And I can post it on my Instagram story as well.
Sick. Thank you. Yeah. Thank you so much. Yeah.
Definitely.
But yeah, because we are print and digital, which is the dream. So
I can't wait to have a physical copy.
Yes.
I'm so excited for you. You deserve this.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much for saying that.
Of course.
Well, you are a star. That is indisputable. And we're just lucky you lent your star power to us.
Oh.
And we're excited to back you and to support you and to learn from you and observe and just watch as Lexxie Mathis continues to take on the world.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate that. It's so sweet.
Well, I love you. I'll see you soon. We're gonna hang out soon.
Yes.
And I'm gonna send you. I'll do it right now. So,
perfect.
So I don't forget.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
I'm gonna send you. Where is it? Oh, here it's in my phone.
I'm gonna smoke a little joint, make some music, work on this.
Enjoy. All right, here it is. Here's the demo. I'm sending it to you right now.
Oh! Perfect. I'm gonna listen with some headphones.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm so excited.
It's unfinished. It's unfinished. It will be finished. I just have to re-record vocals and guitar, but it's
a process.
It's a process. It's a process.
I know whatever you're sending me is gonna sound really good.
I'm really thank you. I'm really proud of it. I'm really proud of it. Yeah, the response from friends has been validating. So, and not just in a way of like, oh, nice little song you got there. Like it's
like genuine.
Anyway, I like surprise because I keep it very close to the chest. It's something I'm still working through personally. So
wow. And because you do so many things too. So just also adding that to, your list of things that you do. Oh, I have an amazing song and I'm like a musician as well. Like That's just so cool.
Oh, says Lexxie Mathis, visual and music and everything lovely. So high praise from you. Anyway, I could go on complimenting you all night, but I think I do need a nap. I think I'm being overtaken by whatever
Yes,
whatever
yeah,
I
I
picked
hope
up.
you feel better.
Thank you. Well, thank you so much again. And Lexxie Mathis, everybody. Thank you for being here.
Awesome. Peace and love. I'll talk to you
Peace
soon.
and love and Ringo Starr. Woo! Bye.
Bye.